Welcome to the Hope, Health, and Healing podcast. I'm Michelle Hannah Fields, and I'm your host for episode 46, which is part 3 of a 3-part series with Grace Jernigan Cadenhead. In this episode, Grace continues sharing her journey through grief, healing, and learning to trust God's timing. She opens up about hearing the Holy Spirit and unanswered prayers, recognizing when God is opening or closing a door, and discovering that God can use even the hardest seasons for His glory. She makes this statement that I feel rings so very true. He doesn't just bring us through things for His glory. He brings us through things so that through them we might glorify Him. I know that Grace has given you such words of wisdom over the past 2 episodes, and I have no doubt that you will glean some wisdom from her in this episode as well. So sit back, relax with your favorite cup of coffee or beverage of your choice, and let Grace's story inspire and encourage you today.
I can truly say that the journey through grief and my journey began in 2012.
Right.
I grieved Tony all 8.5 years that he lived through the heart attack and through COVID. Most people look at it and they probably think, I know some of my family members at first, because a lot of them didn't know Tim as well. Oh, now, oh my goodness, I tease them. I'm like, they love you better than me. But no, really, I don't think people realized, I'd been going through grief for a long time, but of course it was, at a pinnacle point. COVID was, he just wasn't strong. His heart was not strong enough to handle it. The heart and lungs work so hard together. They're so dependent on each other. And I made that turn. I didn't have any idea. My primary care and my rheumatologist and the hospitalist, were like, you were almost ventilated. And they were worried about me making the turn. I'm glad I didn't know it. I just kept saying every day, I think I'm better today.
Yeah.
And one day I finally was. But my heart was fine. And his heart wasn't strong enough. But there are so many things, and his cardiologist called me actually about 2 days before he passed. He called me one night. I didn't expect it, but I think that he got the reports daily, of what was going on. And as we spoke, I kept getting the sense that maybe I think he thinks Tony's passed. That he's already passed. And I told him, I said, Tony is still alive, he's not passed. And he said, oh no, I know that. He said, but Tony was a mighty sick man before he even contracted COVID. So I think what he was doing was trying to prepare me.
Right.
You know. And we've talked about it since then.
Yeah.
I've talked to him. And so anyway, it's just it takes a long time, and it's a journey. It's something that you go through. It's one of the things that Tim and I have in common as well, because his wife, I mentioned she'd had cancer for years, and so same thing. I think you grieve the loss of that normal relationship.
And I think you also grieve the future you had envisioned.
Exactly, that's true too.
You
Good point.
you grieve what you had always envisioned growing old together would look like.
Oh, yeah.
And things you would be able to do and travel and experience together.
Yeah, we had a trip.
Right.
We had a trip planned.
Right. And so you grieve that too. And I believe that really through all of that process, and that God brings healing all through that process, and He prepares you for what's ahead. And I also think that through that, just the blessings you said you had that last 3.5 years that you were at home, the perspective of you see that as a blessing.
Oh, it was.
You know?
It was.
And that also prepares your heart.
Now, our relationship, of course it became different, because things were not the same as they were before.
Right.
Physically, he was not able to do, but physically, my mobility has been challenged by, I just had a knee replacement done February last year.
Yeah.
And so, but it's not, I'm blessed. I don't look at that as a, I'm glad that I really probably should have done it a lot sooner.
Right.
But, so yeah, I have a few mobility issues and I have some joint issues and I'm blessed. That's all I can tell you is that, in the grand scheme of things, you realize all the difficulties that you go through in your life help. There are a lot, and my doctor even says, you have the best outlook, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course. I don't have something that's terminal. I have something that's, a handicap is something that makes your life harder. I have a handicap. I have a handicap tag on my car now.
Yeah.
And it took me forever to break down and get that. My doctor would say, don't you want me to get, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And so finally, I thought I had torn my meniscus and I was with Tim. He had a little orthopedic procedure done, and he said, "Why are you limping?" His doctor. And I said, "Oh, I've got this torn meniscus. It's probably time to get it fixed now." They said you'd need a knee replacement if you do it too soon. And he said, "Well, let's X-ray it." He said, "Come here." He said, "You don't even have a meniscus anymore." He said, "You're just bone on bone." And so I had to get it done, But again, it's a chronic thing. I live with a chronic problem. It's now, can it affect your life? Absolutely, But no, I'm in the grand scheme of things, I'm blessed. And but I'm not going to read it. It's on my iPhone, but I did want to share how out of grief, when you get through to that other side. And so you might look at it and think, well, gosh, you got through that so quickly. I've been grieving for a long time. I grieved even when he went into ICU. Because I know what I knew what COVID pneumonia was like. When they ventilated him and he went in, I knew there was a possibility that he may not be strong enough to come out of it.
Right.
But I prayed that he would.
Right.
But I also prayed for the strength to accept it if he couldn't.
Right.
But I'd been living day to day. Every time we'd go to the doctor, I'd go with him to the doctor that, you could die from sudden cardiac death at any moment.
Right.
And that's hard to hear over and over and over.
Yeah.
But they were trying to prepare us, just like his cardiologist called me. He was trying to prepare me.
Yeah.
And so, it may seem to other people like that was, and that's the odd thing is, I would have never thought that I never expected to marry again, ever. But remember I told you that my friend and I went to his church on the way out west, and this is the first thing, and it's so strange. Some people, they think, well, how does the Holy Spirit speak to you? All I can tell you is, it's a voice.
Yeah.
Does she know my voice? Sometimes. It doesn't have to always be a voice. But we were sitting in his church, and of course his family was there, and he has a lot of grandkids, and his 3 kids were there, and his mother. And I just was so enamored by them, seeing them. And so I remember sitting there that day. And I'd never heard Tim preach. He was the preacher's kid. I knew Tim, but not the pastor. I'm teasing. But I'd seen him at the hospital with Tony, and he came to see Tony's dad in the hospital one time too,
Uh-huh.
and of course he'd grown up, matured, you
Right.
know, and but all this was before we ever started having lunch together. And I was sitting there and I was just listening, and it was so, I mean, he was so calm, and
Uh-huh.
I was thinking, wow, you know, the Lord is like, how proud his daddy would be. His daddy had passed away, and I promise you, it's like, I always say it. I was sitting in front of a stained glass window. They had them, and it was like, I'm telling you, it was like, it's like somebody just said it verbally out loud to me. It said, your path could lie here. And I always heard it twice. Your path could lie here. And I'm like, what in the world? You know, like,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm like, I knew what the voice was, but it's the thought. Your path could lie here. And I'm like, how could my path lie here? I live 45 minutes from here. I can't go to church here.
Yeah.
What is this? You know, anyway, and that was it. And my friend and I, and Danny, his brothers, also, I probably knew Danny even better than Tim at that time. And so, and we went, there's only one place to eat lunch, because they said, you have lunch plans, or what are y'all going to do? And, oh, we're just going to grab something on the way back to Columbus. And they laughed. They said, there is no place on the way back. But there's a little place in Lumpkin that we'll show y'all. Come on, we'll have lunch. Y'all came all this way. And so as we were leaving, I thought, well, you know what? I saw pictures of different events they had. And I thought, I bet they had Vacation Bible School. And I love that, you know, and I directed it many times in church. And so I didn't tell him, well, I'm sitting in your church and I hear this voice says, your path could lie here.
Yeah.
And I thought, am I losing my mind?
Right.
And I thought, I bet it's Vacation Bible School. I could do that for a week. And so I told him, I said, Tim, I said, listen, if y'all do Vacation Bible School, or let me know. Keep me in mind. I'll be glad. If I can come help, I'll be glad to do that. So I felt like I was, okay, that's my path. I might can help with that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that because of COVID, his church used to be full of young families and kids and so forth, but now a lot of those South Georgia towns are kind of not drying up, but they're a lot of people are moving to bigger towns for jobs, and so you have an older congregation. And his church was mostly a lot of older, and he lost a lot of people to COVID as well. So, but I didn't think anything. I thought for sure it meant that I was supposed to help with Vacation Bible School.
Right.
So that was like a year earlier before we started having lunch every now and then together. So anyway, it's just a lot of different things like that. But what I found out, even with grief or just with life lessons according to grace, this isn't so much about grief. It's just an approach to life. There, you know, sometimes no is the correct answer. You know, sometimes the greatest gift that you can receive is an unanswered prayer, because we don't always pray for the right things, but we might not know it. And so the thing that I've found through all of my life journey, struggles, yes, it's been a lot of those, but blessings too. I've found that God will give you 3 answers, and it's the same thing. It's yes, no, or wait a while.
Right.
And so I started looking at that in so many ways, and about open doors and closed doors, because so many times we think we know what's best. Oh, yes, this is what the Lord is wanting me to do. And so we're just pushing, but then there's an obstacle. Oh, no, I feel really led and feel strongly about this. I feel good about it. This is something I want to happen. So I'm going to push a little harder. Oh, okay. Well, it's like the sprinkler. Like, well, I can't make it happen this way. Maybe we'll try it another way. And sometimes a door just simply will not open. And rather than accept that and think, okay, maybe this isn't God's will, we let our will get in the way and we keep pushing so hard. Oh, yeah, and sometimes we can make that happen.
That's right.
You know,
We can
and
break the door down.
absolutely. And that can be in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, that may, divorce.
Yeah.
You know, or just a boyfriend or girlfriend, any kind of relationship. It could be a friendship. You know, maybe you're not intended to be close friends with this girl. You know, whatever. But and then sometimes there's doors that just open, and you think, well, I don't know, that may not be for me. That may not be right for me, and oh, I don't think I should try this job, or maybe I shouldn't try this, whatever. So maybe if a door keeps opening, but yet you don't walk through, you think you know more than God.
Right.
But then sometimes you'd think, well, is that God or is that just me, But if the same door keeps opening, sometimes you've got to be obedient enough to walk through. Do you think that I felt like I needed to retire from my administrative job in the school system and go to Washington, D.C. to write curriculum for cybersecurity that was going to go to the Pentagon?
Yeah.
I was like, are you nuts?
Right.
You don't want me. I don't know anything about this. Well, neither did anybody else.
Yeah.
There was nobody but, education. And anyway, it worked out great. It was, the Secretary of Defense was Mad Dog.
Yeah.
And he has 3 undersecretaries, and so we were working for one of his undersecretaries at that time, who happened to be married to a kindergarten teacher. So that made me feel better.
Yeah.
Because I thought he wanted to know about my credentials, but anyway, I had more credentials. I was National Board certification. That was huge for Fort Benning, and an administration background. So anyway, it's just funny how that door kept opening, but I kept trying so hard not to walk through it because I thought, imposter syndrome, I can't do that. Maybe I'm doing that with writing a book, putting some of those life lessons according to grace into a book. So many people have tried to get me to do it, and I'm thinking, nobody wants to read what I have to say. Yeah. But when a door keeps opening, maybe you should walk through it.
That's right.
Yes, no. But then sometimes there's wait a while. And I didn't understand that one. I thought, wait a while. Because sometimes you can feel like something is supposed to happen, or you can be feeling led for something to happen, but maybe we'll use that in a relationship, okay? But what if the other person's not feeling it?
Right.
Then you're thinking, oh, it's just me. I'm trying to push this forward. This wasn't really from God. This is not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, things begin to open up and then you're realizing, okay, because then you're thinking, okay, you're confused and you're thinking, wait a while for everything to smooth out, because it may not be you that needed that time to wait a while. Yeah. It may be the other person that needed more time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same with any situation too, like even with jobs, like God may be saying wait a while because he doesn't have the right people in place, on the other side of that in order for all of his plan to come together.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah, and the same with relationships, God may be working on the other person to bring them to the place. And I've said this even about me and Doug. Doug and I was divorced 17 years. Doug was divorced 10 before we started going out. And, we joke, who was God working on?
Yeah, but it's true.
But,
it's true.
I'm like, well, God was working on me to be open to a relationship and preparing me to be the wife you needed. He was working on you to be the husband I needed.
Remember,
and
I
that's
told
what it
you
is.
that I knew first with me and Tim.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think that, and I was the one that, and it was Tony who kept saying, "I want you to get married again."
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you crazy?" No.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really would get angry. I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
hear it, but yet when that time came, or I wasn't even sure,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought, "Oh my goodness! Oh yeah, I heard more." I heard more voices. I had more messages. His daughter-in-law texted me and invited me back down to the church to see their kids' Christmas. This is months later.
Yeah.
And which was very sweet. But I thought, I don't want to do that. You know, I can't do that. But but at the same time, you don't want to let them do, because they knew I was a teacher. Or then it was then months after that, it was, we're going to the rodeo. Don't you want? Oh, Christmas Eve, we're all hanging out. Why don't you come and join us? And I'm like, are you kidding? I can't do. I mean, I didn't say that to her. I just thanked her very politely for that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was so sweet that they kept reaching out to me. And the rodeo, I'm like, oh, that sounds like so much fun, but I can't do that, And so I did feel, and then one day, it was one of the, remember the Everywhere song I wrote a post about that, I wrote a post called Premonition, and this is true. Sometimes the Holy Spirit will speak to you in a dream, okay? Well, oh goodness, I dreamed this same dream over a period of years. I know 3 times. I can't tell you the exact date. I can't tell you the exact year. I know I was probably in my 50s the first time it happened. I'm 67. I'll just put it out there. But I dreamed. I would wake up and I dreamed, okay, your number is 62. And what I mean by that is, in this dream, and you know how when you dream, you can't always remember the details of what you dreamed, but I had this overwhelming sense. Of course, Tony hadn't even had the heart attack yet, that I was going to die at 62. That was my number. That's your number, 62. Grace, I told you I'd been diagnosed with all this stuff, and I don't know, and I didn't tell him. I didn't say anything. You wouldn't dare utter that. You don't want to make it come true. You know, you don't.
Right.
And so then I dreamed it another time, second time, years later. They weren't even, might have even been in my 40s the first time. Same thing. I just had this overwhelming premonition that, Grace, your number is 62. That's going to be your number. Now, there's a post about this in Life Lessons. I still didn't tell him. He still had not had the heart attack, even at that point. And then I had it a third time. Now, this was after the heart attack. After he had a heart attack. It was during that 8.5 years. I finally told him. I thought, man, I said, okay, I'm going to tell you this. And I said, and when I do, you're going to tell me, quit it, stop, don't talk about this. You don't need to be dwelling on that or thinking like that. I said, but Tony, I feel like my number is going to be 62. Yeah, remember I told you I'm 67. Okay. And I said, I don't know why. I can't give you any details. I don't know what it is. I just keep having a dream. This is the third time. And it's been over a period of years that I just feel like I need to say it so that when it happens and I'm 62, you can say, somebody's going to know, she knew it. Yeah. She said it's 62. Yeah. She, God's given me a message. And it's 62, I'm telling you. And so when Tony passed away February 7th of 2021, my birthday was April 6th. Okay? So on my birthday, two of my friends, two teachers that I teach with, who were wonderful, they came to the hospital when I was called. You know, they met me in the parking lot. Nobody could go up. They said, you're not going to go in there alone. And I'm so thankful for them. And they, one lives in Colorado, one lives in South Carolina now because they were Fort Benning.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that was my first birthday without Tony. And so they took me to Ma Bella's to eat for dinner. They said, you're not going to be alone. You're going to dinner with us. And it hit me. Oh, wow. It was my 63rd birthday.
Wow.
But think about it.
Yeah.
So that was my 63rd birthday. So I thought, oh, wow. My premonition didn't come true. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Because when Tony died, February 7th of 2021, how old was I?
62.
I was 62.
Yeah.
So the premonition wasn't that I was going to die at 62. He died when I was 62. Is that crazy?
No.
But God was saying, be strong. I don't know what the dream, I don't remember the details of the dream, but when you're 62, all this is going to make you're going through lots of stuff, so you'll be strong.
Yeah.
But I didn't die at 62.
Yeah.
He did.
He did.
Tim messaged me that night. Now, we weren't going to lunch.
Yeah.
This was in, I think it was December.
Uh-huh.
And then he said, I read your post and I thought about it all day.
Uh-huh.
You know, and that meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
To see I'd already felt like, you know, he was an answer to the prayer that I prayed, because he said, I think you need to keep writing, and this is what you should name it.
Yeah.
And then your path could lie here. And then he said, I've been thinking about it all day. And he said, you know, there's a song by Tim McGraw. Who wrote the song Everywhere that led me to take his picture on
Tim
that trip?
McGraw.
Tim
Yeah.
McGraw. Yeah. You see? And I thought, okay, but this is the yes, no, and wait a while. I thought, okay, now, Grace, you're just making this up.
Yeah.
You're just trying to connect the dots of that. I'm thinking, this person is being, and after I read his thing, I heard the voice, and all it said was, you have a connection. But it could be a connection of purpose.
Yeah.
You have a spiritual connection. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like, you have a connection, you're going to marry this man. I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
But I did feel like, you have a spiritual connection to this man. And of course now we can talk about it. Because I'm like, and then finally it was, you know, before it was over, it was like, okay, there's no way God could be talking to me this much about him. And some of the other thing, and him not,
And God not talking to him
not
too.
not speaking to him too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by yes, no, and wait a while. So in some ways, that wait a while could pertain to us, because it's like, okay, you got a connection, your path could lie here, but you're going to have to wait a while, because you're not ready.
Yeah.
You're not ready, and he's not ready.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of the, anyway, that was another one of those connections. So when you're going through grief, don't ever, and I'm saying this for some of my friends that are going through grief right now. I've got several friends that have lost their spouses, COVID, other reasons. And they're feeling like, wow, I wish I could find somebody, you know, and don't count it out, because, you know, it's all about timing.
Yeah.
Remember the sprinkler?
Yeah.
Grief,
Yeah.
sprinklers, all about timing.
Yeah.
You know, you try to jump over it, it's about timing, and when it's twirling around, you can't outrun it, and you don't want to force it too soon. You want to be sure that it's the right. But, you know, I never expected that in my life again.
Yeah.
And I would have been happy and thrilled to have had a 43-year relationship. And but I did pray, Lord, help me get through it.
Yeah.
But help me to help someone else. And he did. But he also blessed us. He blessed him. Of course, now I'm acting like he's down here. But he blessed Tim and I.
Yeah.
Both. Because I think of our obedience, maybe. And purpose.
Yeah.
Because, my thing is, I have, out of this grief, out of this whole experience, God has revealed himself to me. He sent me the Holy Spirit. And he did it in such a way, there's no mistake. And it has helped me to help, it's helped heal me, but I hope and pray that it's helped other people, and I've heard that it has, and I say that very humbly. I still haven't put anything into a book, but but I pray that it has. But anyway, we're still plodding along, and who knows what's next or what's left to. We just want to live a good life and do whatever the Lord leads us. He retired from his church in Enterprise, but you can retire from being an active pastor, but you'll never
retire from ministry.
No, you don't. That's right. Me too.
Yeah.
I'm not officially in the ministry, but then
we all have a ministry.
That's right.
A
purpose.
In the end of Matthew, Jesus commands us to go into all the world.
Yes.
And that's what we're commanded to do. And as we share our story, I'm reminded, I think it's Katie Nicole that sings God is in this story. And, God writes our story. And he will take all of those things that the enemy meant to destroy you, and he will turn it around and use it to not just glorify him. He doesn't take us through things to bring him glory. He takes us through things so that we learn more about him, and through that, we glorify him. And, it's a beautiful, beautiful part of grace.
What a great way to end.
Well, thank you for our time together. I have really enjoyed this, and just, you're such a light, and, I know that there are a lot of people that have been touched by your life, and a lot more to come. So thank you for sharing.
Well, thank you for having me, and truly I sound like Chick-fil-A. It's my pleasure. But really and truly, see, this is another one of those open doors.
Yeah.
That it's not that I was reluctant to walk through, because I felt a kinship with you. I just felt like, who wants to hear my story, But then again, I think about that prayer.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, Lord, it's timing. I had to be strong enough to be able, and I still couldn't get through without crying a little bit.
Right.
But, I would have ugly cried if I'd done this sooner.
Yeah.
But I felt like, truly, okay, this door has opened again. Maybe I'm supposed to walk through it. And so here I am.
Yeah.
So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And
I look forward to for having you on again for Chapter 3.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Hope, Health, and Healing. I know that Grace's story over these last 3 episodes have given you such wisdom, comfort, and strength no matter what season of life you find yourself in. If you have not followed our show, be sure to do so that you're notified every time we have a brand new episode. And if you have not shared with your friends and family, please do so. We sure would love your support and helping us get the word out. And be sure to join us next time on Hope, Health, and Healing. Thanks, and have a great day.